y'all, have another Perez Hilton update, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news. It's worse than the last update. It's pretty bad. It's worse than the last one. So, let's get into it. So, where we left off with him, I was doubling down because people were telling me that for some reason it was not allowed and it was wrong for me to remember, simply have a memory of what Perez Hilton used to do. And, a lot of this stuff is still up, still out, still public to other people during the worst moments of their lives. Now, if you will recall, I said I don't personally wish any ill will on him. I don't have any ill will toward him. I do not want him to suffer harm or be hurt or anything like that. And I'm not saying he necessarily deserves what happened to him, although, spoiler alert, after today's video, you might come away thinking about this a little bit differently than you do right now. Okay. So last we left off, I was a little bit hot under the collar because there's so many people saying Perez Hilton was obviously in the throes of a mental health crisis. And so we should all just excuse the behavior. Not only that he did in the video, that grotesque and detestable stunt he pulled on the live stream, not only should we forgive that because it was obviously a mental health episode, but also we shouldn't criticize or have any issue with any of the past behaviors that Perez Hilton has exhibited, including but not limited to, for example, posting pictures of underage, let's call it what it is, children. Taylor Momsen, Vanessa Hudgens, was it Miley Cyrus? Several. Plus, on top of that, women who also didn't consent to having very private things posted, private parts, private acts. Again, some of them, several, being under the age of 18, meaning they were children legally. No, we're not allowed to remember that. We're not allowed to still be upset about that. Why? Well, he apologized. He apologized, Perez Hilton. He's sorry. He said sorry. So that's where we left off. And I was saying, if you will recall, I don't really give a flying rat's beep if he's going through a mental health problem, breakdown, or not. I also recall Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs going through mental health crises. Y'all didn't have no problems holding him accountable. So it's just a mystery to me. Why is it that Perez Hilton is above reproach when his entire existence ever has been criticizing, critiquing, and commenting on other people's situations, in particular the lowest, worst, darkest days of their lives? So that's where we left off. And I was saying I don't really give a rat's beep because he got kids. And those kids, at first it was told to us, were not home. Then we start getting a kind of like a second round of reporting. And in the second round of reporting, then we start hearing the kids were home. But maybe they saw some stuff, maybe they didn't. In any event, they had to flee from their home. They fled from their home in fear for their safety, possibly their lives. Their aunt had to get them. They were fleeing from the home. There was another child in the home. And I was saying, and have said, that's child abuse. He shouldn't be around those kids. Probably at all, but most certainly not unsupervised. He shouldn't be around them. Because there's only, two possibilities in this scenario. Where Perez Hilton was having that maniacal breakdown and pulled that stunt and brought all of us in on it. I mean, if you will recall, my biggest issue with this is that he did it so publicly. I don't want to live in a world, a society, where people can do deranged and despicable, disgusting things on camera talking to the audience, apparently getting kicked out and having to log back in, quoting comments from previous. He remembered that. I don't want to live in a world where somebody can do that and there's no consequence, and all of us just have to be traumatized by it. He went online immediately. So many of y'all have commented, I had sepsis psychosis. I didn't do that. Yeah, I did some crazy stuff. Yeah, I was even a little violent, but I didn't do that. I would have known I was this, that, and the other. Whatever. The other issue that I had, other than the fact he traumatized millions of people, us, he traumatized us with that display, whether he meant to do it or not. But then, when people have an obvious, expected, justified backlash, now it's Excuseville City, USA for Perez. He apologized. He was having a mental health break. He was do. Bitch, we live in a law and order society. I mean, shit, even in the the private sector, if I was like a minute late to my yard house job, I was fired if it happened like 3 times in 6 months. A minute. Actions have consequences everywhere you go in the world, except if you're a rich Hollywood type, or maybe some of them, their actions have consequences eventually, but I'm just seriously, that's why I'm coming here. I'm tripling down. I don't understand, what is this pedestal treatment? This get out of jail free treatment for Perez freaking Hilton from a lot of the same people have no problem holding other people accountable. It's just for some reason Perez Hilton. So now there's updates and they're horrific. And it makes it worse. It makes it worse. It makes me more right. Hopefully I get some apologies by the end of this one. So this came and went. Interesting that nobody's been harping on this one. This came and went like a thief in the night. This from 4 days ago. It's from this past Friday. There's a police report now. We get some more details. And again, they're horrific. Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office report details response to Perez Hilton self-harm incident. The report released this past Friday details the incident where he live streamed himself committing horrible and horrific acts while his children ran away and had to flee from their own home where they should feel safe in fear. But we're going to get more details. Newly released report giving fresh details on the response to the incident. The report was released this past Friday, August 4th. The mental health crisis involving him, he live streamed what appeared to be, this is NBC Miami, by the way, what appeared to be self-harm from his home. Deputy wrote that they responded to the home after Hilton's sister, Barbara, reported that he was inside with a blanking himself. His sister said that Perez had been experiencing self-unalive thoughts. These thoughts had gone on in the previous week, and he had been hospitalized. Okay? So, leading up to the incident, it was well known by Perez and his sister that Perez was already in the midst of a mental health crisis, and that sucks. I'm not saying that I think that's a good thing at all whatsoever. That sucks. I'm not saying that it's a bad or a wrong thing for him to go to the hospital, especially if he took himself. Hope all goes well. That's not where my issues start. Okay, my issues started with him, what he did to those victims that he had. The dude's been a predator the whole time. He's been a predator the whole time. Okay. Preying on whoever to make his money. I mean, I can never forget what he did to Britney Spears. It was so horrific. It's hard to overstate. Anyway, this police report comes out. On the day of the incident, even though he had been, unfortunately, having these feelings and all that, but on the day of the incident, Perez had been unusually quiet, according to the sister. He had locked himself in the bedroom. This was unusual, apparently. His sister said she became concerned. Now, Who was watching his kids, all of which are still under the age of 18? The sister? Who's raising these kids? Because that's my second concern. My first concern, in no particular order, we the people and those kids. Those kids didn't ask to be born. They have exactly one parent, and it's Perez Hilton. He paid money to have those children be born. It wasn't like oopsie daisy, drunken night. No. He made very affirmative steps and put in an enormous amount of investment to have not one, not two, but 3 children, and all of them are under the age of 18. So now he's in the bathroom. Nobody's heard from him. Again, I'm not judging him for having a mental health problem at all. I'm not judging him for having depression at all. But wait till you see what we're about to learn. She said she became concerned when Perez refused to come out of the bathroom. So she unlocked the door and found him inside naked and covered in the stuff that the vampires drink. All right? But wait, there's more. She then fled the residence. She flees the scene with her child, her daughter, and her 3 nieces and nephews, which are Perez's children. She sees her brother in this state, in this condition. And now there's other places where she described it. And she said it was horrendous. He looked like he wasn't even the same person. She didn't recognize him. But she flees the scene with her child and his children, gets into her car, and according to a police report, Perez Naked Hilton runs out the house naked. Runs up to the door, the driver's side door, where his sister's trying to get these kids to safety. Quote, naked and bloody. And began banging on the window. Those children are never going to fully get over this. Hopefully they can heal. Hopefully they can heal from it. But they're never going to ever forget it. Their naked, bloody dad banging on the window. Now, some of y'all are still hanging on to that sepsis psychosis. It's sepsis psychosis. We'll see. Doctors are treating him. The sister began to drive away when she saw the authorities had arrived. Perez Hilton received treatment at the scene from the paramedics for multiple lacerations and an overdose. Yeah. I haven't seen that in any headlines. Have you? They might need to reprogram the Reddit bots to stop saying sepsis psychosis at this point. You mean to tell me Perez Hilton was on a drug bender while his kids were in the house? You mean to tell me that I've been being called everything but a child of God for simply having a memory where I remember that he was always a predator and not being able to fully be oh, I could just forget all about that because he had a mental health episode. No, 2 things can happen at the same time. I can feel bad that he had a mental health episode and feel sympathy for that and still hold him accountable for being a predator. He's been a predator the whole time. A disgusting creep. He was a disgusting creep when he live streamed that bullshit too. He was a disgusting creep when he did that too, because I am of the belief, this is my opinion, I'm allowed to say it, I am of the belief that Perez Hilton, perhaps his inhibitions were lowered because of now we know the drug use, not the sepsis psychosis, the drug use. Maybe his inhibitions were lowered, but y'all, he was talking to the audience. He knew he was on a live stream. He knew he was on a live stream. His children, for all the hell he knew, were in his house. and he had been doing recreational drugs. He was treated for an OD on the scene. I haven't seen anybody mentioning this too loud. Have y'all? Maybe it's just not in my algorithm. He was hospitalized. The sister said it's going to be one of the darkest days in her family's history that she's ever experienced. When she found him in the bathroom, he was naked, cut up, covered in blank, and a blank was in his hand. Deputies responded after the live streaming event. Shortly before all of that incident, he had checked himself into a hospital for severe depression. In March, he had been hospitalized. In a series of posts, he said he was hospitalized for 3 weeks with an ulcer and sepsis. That was March. That was 5 months ago. He was ODing. Perez Hilton should never be allowed around children again, especially alone. His children's lives are in danger. He has no discernment and clearly has lost touch with reality. There is not a single solitary person or entity who has spent more blood, sweat, tears, advocacy hours advocating for people to get to keep their rights. That includes rights to free speech, rights to take or not take medicine or drugs if they want. And all of those things I still strongly believe. But if you've been listening, I always say, unless the person is committing a crime or truly, actually putting someone's life in danger, like a child, there is no telling what this freak has done in that house behind closed doors in front of these children before it. You don't just wake up one day and do that, what Perez Hilton did. Now, maybe he had a reason. Maybe he has his excuses. Maybe he's in 764. We're going to have to find out. But all I know now from a police report that's being reported about from NBC, Miami, a local news source over there, is he was treated not for sepsis, not for sepsis psychosis, for lacerations and a drug overdose. So, I don't want to hear sepsis psychosis another time. That was 5 months ago, and he was treated for an OD that night. There's only two possibilities. There's only two. Either he had control over himself when he pulled that stunt, and now including running out naked in the street covered in you-know-what, banging on the door of the vehicle 4 children were inside of, naked in the street. He either had full control over those actions or he didn't. Either way, I believe it's now been demonstrated wholly, fully. Either he can control himself or he can't. Either way, he can't be around kids. If adults want to make the decision full knowing decision and consensually go around him, I might bring some wasp spray. I might bring some holy water if I were you. But you grown. I'm talking about kids. Now, this other article here, Perez is receiving inpatient treatment, receiving medical care after being hospitalized. He's still in the hospital. He's now an inpatient. Who's watching the kids? Because if this was severe depression, that's one course of action. He's disfigured, probably fighting off a lot of infections. Whatever the effects of the voluntary drugs that he did were, I am the child of an addict. My father lost his life because of drugs. There's no one better for you to hear this message from. My dad never did something like this in front of us. Maybe he did something like this, I wouldn't know. Because even on all the drugs he ever did, he would abandon us That's its own type of neglect is abuse. I know firsthand what it's like to have a drug addict daddy. And it to fuck up your life. I'm the best person to be giving this message. I know exactly what it feels like. And I wish, even though nothing as extreme as this ever happened around me, somebody would have said, hey, let's worry about these kids instead of me having to be an adult at 7 or 9 years old. However old these kids are. There's going to be a before this day and an after this day in these kids' life for the rest of their life. There's not an amount of apologies. There's not an amount of stuff he could buy them. What's done is done. I don't want to hear nobody complaining about my opinion on this anymore. Thank you. Now, guess what else? The hypocrisy continues as well. Because the last video I made on this topic, if you recall, we were talking about this hypocritical demand for privacy. And again, I made a caveat. I ain't talking about the kids. People need to leave them kids alone. They've been through enough. Perez Hilton wants privacy, but his own family is putting updates on his website about his condition and his hospital stay. They're giving updates, exclusive updates to other people. The only people talking to Perez Hilton right now is his immediate family. His agents can't even get in touch with him. So if there's news out on the street, it's coming from them. All the while they're asking for privacy. Please give our family privacy. And so people did give them privacy, and they're bitching about that too. I have seen at least two articles of the same slant here. This is the tab. Tragic update on Perez Hilton's voluntary actions to himself. And the one question he's asking amidst lifelong disfigurement. He was already disfigured. He already looked possessed by something just grotesque that had his face all tangled up. But now he's really going to be disfigured. And whose fault is that? His. He picked them drugs up that night, and he picked that box cutter up that night. He ran out there and banged on the door of the window that night. He did all of those things. Probably. Now, let us find out he got drugged. I'll change my tune. Maybe his sister drugged him because she's secretly wants to take over his life. I don't think that's what happened. Maybe it is. Y'all let me know. I'm happy to stand corrected. But from where I'm standing, he was locked in the bathroom and she had to let herself in to see what was going on in there. And he was mid-whatever. Perez Hilton's still in the hospital. This came out like about 6 hours ago, this article. Still in the hospital following his graphic live stream with family members earlier detailing how now he is facing now lifelong disfigurement. Quote, Perez knows that something happened. Yeah, he did drugs and had a psychotic break. Those poor kids. Perez knows something happened, and he knows that things aren't good right now, a friend recently said. Which friend? He's only allowed to talk to his parents. I mean, his immediate family right now. That's what the reports were. Quote, but he doesn't have a lot of presence of mind. They probably got him drugged up. He's not able to fully process what happened. He never will. He never will. He'll never want to take responsibility or accountability for that. He's always going to act like, I can't remember. Now, this all came after a now, unfortunately, viral live stream where he was seemingly self-harming in front of 4 other influencers and the general public and moaning with glee and delight and saying it feels so good. He said that, not me. Sparked numerous 911 calls, and there have been a few updates in the last few days. In a new report by the Daily Mail, friends and family shared some insight into Perez Hilton's state of mind right now. They admitted to lying to him and saying, quote, your friends are all in your corner. But in reality, no one besides family has gone to visit him. Y'all told people they weren't allowed to. The agents couldn't even, and seemingly still can't even get in touch with him. It's like they're what? Quote, all the ones he wanted to reach out, all the celebrities who he has mended fences with. Well, that means celebrities he probably traumatized. Saying, and this is something y'all need to hear. And when I say y'all, I know 97% of y'all are on my side on this. I see the comments. But there are some people, and it's just belligerent. Just because somebody said they were sorry for something doesn't mean everything goes back to how it was before they did that thing. Accepting an apology doesn't mean that the person has to go and be your friend now. He apologized, so? So? I still don't like that he did it. Well, that was a long time ago. So? So what? He apologized to these people. He mended fences and he expects them, the people that he probably made nasty stories about, to worry about. I mean, let me come to the hospital and see Perez Hilton, who overdosed and sliced himself up while his kids were in the house. What? Why would anybody want to go be around that freak? This is not wishing harm on him. That is different than saying, I don't support this and I don't want to be around it. He's about to find out who his real friends are. All the ones he wanted to reach out. All the celebrities who he has mended fences with. All the ones who said he's their friend. None of them are doing anything. He's about to find out who his real friends are. We don't even know how to break this news to him. He's going to be crushed. It's really sad. The family friend, probably his sister, said. How little people are rallying behind him. Well, I would beg to differ. There's a lot of people out here. Oh, you gotta forgive Perez. He's apologized. He's sorry. Forget about the time he shared pictures of little girls when they weren't old enough to even vote. Forget about that. People who have told him they love him, but where are they? I'm going to tell you where they are, Patricia and the rest. They at their damn house, doing their jobs, minding their own business. It's a recession. Probably trying themselves not to OD. Probably trying themselves not to have a psychotic break. How about don't ask for privacy if you want people knocking the damn door down? Give us some privacy. I don't know why no one's reached out. Please respect our privacy. He's about to find out who his real friends are. Please respect the privacy. No one has even called. Tripling down, not sorry. Actually, I mean it even more now. Because this ain't no sepsis psychosis. No, I thought that sounded stupid when y'all were saying it before. But now, I wanted to give a quick word from today's video's sponsor. I usually don't take sponsorships, but this product actually impressed me so much. This is the Flash XL from eWin Gaming, and it is amazing. Truly, this is an incredible chair, especially for the price. First of all, and probably the most impressive thing to me, is these armrests. They are so articulable. You can move them up, you can move them down, you can move them in, you can move them out. There's even this button right here that lets you move them to the angle open and more closed in. This is the best part of the chair because I cannot sit still. I have to be moving all day. Humans are really not meant to be sitting in a chair all day. So I like to sit like this. I do my makeup in this chair. I'm cross-legged in this chair. Most of the time, I'm either sitting on top of one of my feet or I'm sitting kind of cross-legged in the chair. So this one is really working for me. This magnetic headrest is amazing. And the lumbar support, apparently it goes 4 ways, a built-in 4-way lumbar support. Y'all, I haven't even moved it from the position it's in since I got the chair because it feels so good on my back. It really lets me to stretch back and stretch my back out on these super long live streams, and truly I think it's really competing with chairs that cost maybe 4 times as much as this one. If you're in the market for a new chair, I would absolutely recommend you go check out eWin. I have a 25% off code linked below, code BJ. Want a discount, it is linked down below. This is the Flash Series XL. Please go and update the Reddit bots and let them know it ain't sepsis psychosis. Please don't send any hate to anybody mentioned in this video. I don't wish any harm on anybody. And I really hope, for everybody's sake, including the traumatized public, the children who didn't ask to be brought into this world or born, especially to that deranged freak, Perez Hilton's family and himself, that he actually gets better. Love you, mean it. Okay, bye.